just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, wholly welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, wholly welcome, wholly welcome.
Hello, and welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living St. George. This is our Sunday morning meditation. My name is Anita Sheff. I'm a licensed practitioner with Centers for Spiritual Living. And we use this brief time to get us settled and centered before our service begins. The theme for the December talks is community, so I'm going to be guiding you in a short meditative experience of community this morning. So I invite you to begin by taking a comfortable posture, comfortable but alert, and closing your eyes and turning your attention inward. And as we take 3 focused breaths together, letting each breath out bring greater relaxation to your body. So let's begin with that. Inhale fully and hold it for a moment and let it go. Again, inhale. Hold it briefly and breathe out, feeling yourself relax. And once more, inhale. Hold and let go. And continuing to breathe with your own natural rhythm. Just bring your attention to your heart space. You may want to place your hand where you sense that space. It's more than just the organ of the heart. It's more spacious. It's less physically defined. It's said that the heart space represents your center of consciousness. And now imagine that you are inviting your very own community of people into your heart space. You share something in common with these people. Maybe it's physical characteristics or culture or value, beliefs. These are the folks that you call your tribe, your village. And as you call them in, feel the edges of your heart space soften and expand to accommodate everyone you have called in, everyone that you've invited. Can you feel that expansion? And as you welcome them all, you begin to feel the warmth of kinship, belonging, unity. Everyone in this space is recognized, appreciated, valued. Just sit with that for a moment. Recognized, appreciated, valued. Doesn't that feel good? Now notice the perimeter of your heart space. Is there a border? It takes some imagination to see things without borders. Do you see others outside of the border? Those people that we call others. The others probably look different to you. And isn't it curious that they don't seem to fit in with your community? Ooh, I like that word curious. Let curiosity seep into your awareness. And as this curiosity takes hold, you begin to move closer to the border that separates you from them. You're curious to know more. You draw closer until you are face to face, looking into the eyes of the others. You look from one to the next, looking into the eyes. And to your surprise, in each one's eyes, you see your own reflection. You have discovered common ground, your kinship. In this experience of kinship, the perimeter of your heart space just melts away. It dissolves, it becomes fluid, infinitely expandable. You're making space for your community to grow. Recognizing, appreciating, and valuing all. There's no limit to the size of your community. It's the community of humanity. It's the community of the divine. So in this last minute, I'd like you to hear these words from Father Gregory Boyle. No daylight to separate us, only kinship. Only kinship. Inching ourselves closer to creating a community of kinship such that God might recognize it Soon we imagine with God this circle of compassion. Then we imagine no one standing outside of that circle, moving ourselves closer to the margins so that the margins themselves will be erased. Kinship is what God presses us onto, always hopeful that its time has come. Can you feel the warmth and the joy of that kinship? That unity with the humanity of the planet. It's expansive. So take a deep breath with me now. And as you release it, begin to bring yourself back to the here and now. Open your eyes and allow a smile to just complete this meditation. Thank you for joining me. I see you, I appreciate you, I value you. And stay tuned for a wonderful and inspiring talk from Reverend Joe this morning. Thank you.
There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, the minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time will somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the farce revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. This is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts. Come close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, feeling all the hearts ignited now in you and me. The secret is wherever. The secret is whenever. The secret is together we are.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in St. George. Thank you for joining us today. And as we celebrate through the holidays, we welcome having you here with us. We are an open, loving, and inclusive community. What do we do? We support thinking creatively and leading a deeply spiritual life. So you're safe here. That's what we do. So just come along. Our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation, and we work at that. Today's group that will be presenting our service is brought to you by Marina Anderson, our technical support, who's behind the scenes, and Anita Schuff, who did that wonderful meditation that left me smiling at the end. Anita, thank you. My name is Alan Stanley. I'll be your host today. Shay Barlow will be providing our music. Jophil Kovach will be doing our reading. And our minister, Reverend Joe Kovach, will be presenting our message for today. So sit back and relax, and let's just soak all this in. We'll start it off with the song from Shay, written by Karen Drucker. Hello, Shay.
Good morning, Alan. So grateful to be here. So we are going to go ahead and open with a little bit of music just to kind of bring us into that beautiful centering place. And Anita will pop back in and she will do an invocation in between this song. And when we come back, the lyrics will be on screen so you can affirm these words with me. This is Blessing to the World by Karen Drucker. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world.
If you will allow me to let my voice join you and speak words of community this morning, we enter into that blessed community, knowing that each one is a blessing to the world. There is one spirit, one source of all, one love, one mind that unites all of creation. And yet, in that magnificence of being in unity, there is diversity. And today we come together to celebrate that diversity, to celebrate the uniqueness of each one present here in this service, each one who hears this message. We celebrate the diversity, the uniqueness, the individuality, the freedom to express our individuality. And in this service today, we welcome each one. We look into the eyes of every other person that we see, and we don't see other. We see ourselves. We see that spirit of the divine right here in each one. And so I know that this service is blessed today, blessed by a message of community, blessed by a message of love. And that each one coming here today receives something uniquely valuable to them. And I declare that this is good and very good. And so I let it be, and so it is.
So it is. Beautiful. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world, a blessing to the world. And now I am grateful to introduce Jophiel Kovach into our service today. Good morning, Jofi.
Good morning. So, hi, my name is Jophiel Kovach, and I'm reading You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, chapter 10, and it's called Relationships. It seems that all life is relationships. We have relationships with everything. The relationships you have with objects and foods and weather and transportation and with people all reflect the relationship you have with yourself. The relationship you have with yourself is highly influenced by the relationships you had with the adults around you as a child. The way the adults react to us then is often the way we react towards ourselves now, both positively and negatively. Think for a moment of the words you use when you are scolding yourself. Aren't they the same words your parents used when they are scolding you? What words did they use when they praised you? I'm sure they used the same words to praise yourself. Relationships are mirrors of yourself. What we attract always mirrors either qualities we have or beliefs we have about relationships. This is true whether it is a boss, a coworker, an employee, a friend, a lover, a spouse, or a child. The things you don't like about these people are either what you yourself do or would not do, or what you believe. You could not attract them or have them in your life if the way they are didn't somehow complete your own life. I really like this reading because it's showing you like your relationship with yourself is going to reflect the relationships you have around people, and this shows me to have like a positive relationship with myself and the people around me.
That's beautiful, Jofi. Great insights. Thank you so
Thank
much. So as you have noticed today, we are talking about community, which is our December theme. And the focus today is into we see. Into we see. How do we see each other? Author Akirak Brost, he said, it's beautiful when someone recognizes and appreciates us for who we are, for how we are, without trying to change us, and without any judgment. Unconditional acceptance is the truest form of love. Dr. Dean Ornish also wrote, the need for connection and community is primal, as fundamental as the need for air, water, and food. And how grateful I am for this beautiful CSL community. This is a song that I wrote sort of honoring the multifaceted people that we are and all of the dichotomy and joy and love that lives within us. This is called I See You. I see you beautiful, I see you teach, I see you hesitate, I see you reach, I see you sensitive, I see you bold, I see you grateful and I see you whole. I see you. I see you passionate. I see you shy. I see you resolute, I see you thrive, I see you complicate, I see you trust, I see you faithful, and I see you just. I see you. I see you genuine, I see you need, I see you holy, and I see you free. I see you. I see you. I love you. Okay, Alan, back to you, sir.
Oh my goodness, Shay, you did it again. That's what I love about our community is how we all see each other and love each other. Thank you so
Amen
much.
to that.
That's great. Thank you. Well, now it's time for our senior minister, Joe Kovach, to present his understanding of today's message. Welcome, Reverend Joe.
Good morning, Alan. How are you?
My friend, take it over. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. What a great song from Shay there. I see you, and the words remind me of one of my favorite movies, Avatar, which the second movie is coming out finally after over a decade this coming Friday. I see you. That's kind of their version of what we would say is namaste. So how perfect is that? And I'm really grateful for this month's topic of community. Here, with Science of Mind, we talk so much about that inner work and us working on ourselves as individuals. And this month has really helped me realize that maybe I was a little unbalanced in the sense of, yes, I have to own my own thoughts and feelings. And yet there's a whole world out there. It's not just my little world. And so we're going to continue talking about community. And I hope wherever you are right now, you're feeling connected somewhere, somehow to a community. It's really important that we have, it's one of the greatest needs we have in psychology, looking at it, is the sense of belonging. And that's one of the blessings that a community has. And the word community, as I've read this weekend, it never came across to me before, which is broken up to common unity. So common unity, community. And I want to remind us from the beginning that this idea of unity, when we talk about community and unity does not mean like the same, as in identical. Unity is recognizing the wholeness of everyone as and similarness in a sense, maybe not sameness. And that's why we're going to get into talk a little bit about diversity later in my talk. So I hope that you are feeling a sense of belonging this morning. I know I do. As Shay said, she loves this community. I love this community, and I'm still just learning about the different unique talents and people and personalities. And it's been a really fun time so far, and I know it's only going to get better. So that's the way life works for me. I hope you too. So let's start off as we continue to talk about this into we see. I sat with this talk title for a while before I kind of took my own what it means to me. And so for this, I wanted to start with, I guess what I would say is the basics, which is the Declaration of Principles that Ernest Holmes wrote, and what basically the kind of what we believe statements. And in his first statement, he says this. He says, we believe in God, the living spirit almighty, one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. And so that's a lot of words. What does it mean? Well, I think it's important to start with there's only one. We're talking about a community. And in the sense, in back of all these communities, these infinite communities that we have or could be a part of, there's just one life. And I say just, not as to minimize, but there's, maybe I should just take that word out. There's one life that's happening right here. Call it God, call it life, call it universal source, call it whatever makes you happy. Because here's the truth. Any God that we think we can understand fully is not God. And what I mean by that is, to the best of our abilities, no matter who we are, as we're living this human experience, we are limited in the divine aspect of all that we can take up. I mean, I think in my idea, our minds might blow if we try to take in all of the universe and everything going on. But in our world, we can know God to the highest and best of our individual ability. And I believe that's what this is saying, that yes, there is this one perfect, whole, loving source of all creation, and it's manifesting itself uniquely through us, and therefore in our communities. So again, life is being expressed, discovered, and realized within not just ourselves, but our communities. So another principle I wanted to share, because it fits perfectly, which is this, again, coming from Ernest Holmes. He says, we believe in the individualization of the spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one spirit. So again, just this idea that we're individualizations of the one. So again, a while ago, I used a team analogy, like a sports team. And every player, in a sense, is a part of that team, and they're an individuation of that team. They're a team member. So we're all team members of the great team of life. And so that helps me and in a moment, because as I look out, I want to find communities that I connect with uniquely. I have a unique set, a unique personality, a unique set of things I want to experience, as we all do. And so I want to remember that, even though as I'm looking around and seeking for a new community, or even within my own community, that, you know, everyone is a perfect divine individualization, tough word for me to say today, of what we call God, source, spirit. And then, well, another one that I want to share, another principle, says simply this: we believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. So, I first take this in and share this because it is an individual job for me to recognize what I call God, and that's going to be completely different from everybody else. And that's okay. That there is a unity back of all of it. I may not necessarily recognize what's going on there. Okay. I can only see it from my point of view, which is perfect, whole, and blessed. But I don't want you to look down upon someone else or a community that in the way that they see things, life, points of view. So these are three principles that I thought were important to start off with. Again, in religious science, these are part of the what we believe statements. We call them principles that for us are true, 100% true, factual. And as I have studied as a minister several other religions, the major religions that I have studied are all very, very similar. That they all believe in one source of all life. Whether they call it different things, and that's okay. In comes that diversity part. So again, reminding us that as I speak, as anyone speaks, there may be a great lesson, but sometimes I get hung up on one word, and I ask you to just throw out that word and put in your own word that feels better for you, because then you don't miss the lesson. And if anything, you may enhance it for yourself. So to kind of summarize this first part of the talk, I'm going to share a part of a reading, really, that came from last year's Science of Mind. And Reverend Peter Wells, who is a senior leader at CSL Dallas. And she says this, beautiful. She says, all of life is the expression of the one life. All creation is the body of the infinite, expressing and experiencing itself in infinitely diverse ways. This is necessary, or the universal spirit would not be fully infinite. Creation is where love becomes actualized. I love that. And life becomes more of itself. Interesting. It needs you, me, and the whole universe to become all of the infinite ways it can be. Wow. I could have just used that talk or that quote only today. And again, thank you, Reverend Petra. So it mirrors the first three principles in a maybe an easier to understand way, that life needs us, and it's expressing itself through infinite ways. So if we say infinite, that means there's going to be ways that we align with in our communities, people that we align with, ideas that we align with, and there's going to be times when it doesn't. And that's why do people think that way? Because that's part of the infinite becoming of all life. So yes, it's a unity, it's a wholeness that is being expressed infinitely in different ways, but it doesn't mean that it's not part of the whole. Remember, for us to experience life, we have to have an other, not just maybe an other person, or definitely another person, so I can therefore look at me and them and know that way I notice me. If it's just me, I don't know. I can't positively judge. Okay. And we look at that in the sense of others and communities. So there must be different types. And we have to recognize our divineness, that my job is not to change others, but that individualization is to do the best I can with what I have and where I'm at in life at this time. Simply put, Holmes goes on to say that unity is expressed in multiplicity. Let me say that again. Unity, he says, is expressed in multiplicity. So just exactly what I'm saying, again, that there's a wholeness, there's a unity, a common unity, community, but it's being expressed infinitely. And what Ernest Holmes says is multiplicity, different ways. How fun is that, right? And that's like, again, going to a buffet, and there would only be one thing there for us to choose from. Okay, that would be absolutely not the opposite. It would be the opposite of creativity, wouldn't it be? It would be just singularity. And we're here to experience diversity. We're here to experience the smorgasbord of all life, the buffet of all life. And when I'm going to the buffet, I don't ask those that are serving to remove the things I don't like, right? Well, there it is. I don't want to look at it. Oh, I hate lobster. I don't like it. It's rubbery. It's gross. It's this. It's that. And it's like, I don't have to put it down. I could just say for myself, I don't like lobster. You don't have to remove it from the buffet. I'm just going to choose something different, something that I like. And in simplicity, that's what we're doing with our communities, where some that we choose and some in a sense that we don't, meaning our direct families. Our family is our family, and we have to learn to deal with that. That's an inner community. And then there's our outer community. I'm gonna get some water because I'm struggling speaking. Perfect. So again, looking at this idea that it's all one, and yet we're individuals, and we're learning in multiplicity. We're learning from different ways, different purviews, different ways of looking at life. And that's what a community is. It's a particular way of life showing up. Great quote next is from Jean Vanier. And she says, one of the marvelous things about community is that it enables us to welcome and help people in a way we couldn't as individuals. Ooh, now that's powerful, right? What if you find a community and you maybe don't necessarily vibe with it, but somehow, some way, Spirit, the divine, brought you to there just to help them in a way, maybe to point them in a different direction. You never know. I had a person knock on my door at one time. It was a group of people, and they were from a particular religious pathway, and they were talking to me, and I was open to talking with them, and they asked me a question, and just by the way that I answered it, I was just being me, and one of the gentlemen stayed and talked to me for a longer time. And for years after that, we got each other's information, and I met his family, and he met mine. And I'm not sure. We've actually lost touch. I've tried to reach out to him, and but maybe I was just placed there for that little moment in life to help this person. And I know he helped me, because he helped me realize that generalizing groups is not always healthy, and that he was an amazing person. And so I didn't want to limit who he was simply by the faith that he followed. And not that it was, I'm putting it down in any way. It was just a different way of looking at life. And I still, obviously, I remember that, because it reminds me each and every time that in a place, what can I learn and how can I help? And that's what this quote is really sharing. So no matter where we are, I believe that we are being used positively by the divine. I don't mean used in a way of negativity, but blessed, right? That the universe is using and operating through us with our unique talents and abilities and personalities to help that infiniteness of life continue to operate. Ernest Holmes says, the unity of good is a revelation of the greatest importance. The unity of good. Notice there's a capital G there. It teaches us that we are one with the whole and with each other. So he says this unity of good, it can recognize, can we recognize, I want to ask, the good or God in another? I want you to pause for a minute. Do we always recognize the good or God in another? Because when we're aligned with this unity of good, then I believe we're caring and we're compassionate, and we're open to helping and serving others and recognizing the beauty in another, that we're aware of this sense of unity. When we're aligned with this unity of good, that we're literally unified with the other, and that we don't see them as an other, but just another different creation of the divine, another reflection of God. When we're not consciously aligned with this unity of good, then I think the biggest thing is we feel separate, right? We feel judgmental. And in a sense, by being so judgmental, first upon ourselves, and then we project that out, that we separate ourselves. Not really, but you know what I mean. We build up these thoughts and beliefs of others to a level that we put ourselves outside of the community. The word disassociated is coming to me for some reason. And I'm going to say, even if we go deep enough, that we just become unloving. And yes, that starts within. So I like what Holmes is saying. It's a unity of good. And also that reminds me, when I hear that, is that all communities in essence are evolving and good. Some of them are at a low level of good. Some of them are at a high level of good, meaning experiencing, expressing, and serving what we would call goodness in life. And so I want to look at this diversity a little deeper, because diversity, it's a human attribute, right? It's one of the qualities of life with an infinite, like we see life in an infinite variety of expressions, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And as our world becomes smaller due to particularly the internet and being online, we have been thrown into an expansion of our awareness. And now, instead of just like when I grew up, my community was my community, which was rather small, and I knew everybody on my block, and I knew almost everyone at my school and so forth. It felt small and comfortable and safe in a sense. Even if I didn't necessarily like it, I knew it. Now we're open up to the absolute all of humanity. And that can feel a little overwhelming at times. And yet, through our spiritual practices, I believe that we can get to a place to where we are feeling part of that unity of good. Okay, so going back to the talk title, the Into We See, we're recognizing the we. I'm recognizing the we as me. And there, that allows me to see them as part of the whole. Bishop Desmond Tutu, he says a couple things. First, he says, we inhabit a universe that is characterized by diversity. Absolutely. Even just look at the animal kingdom, right? And then he says, differences are not intended to separate, to alienate. We are different precisely in order to realize our need of one another. Let that sit in. We are different precisely in order to realize our need for one another. So when we recognize and are comfortable with who we are, I think we get to that point to where I'm open now to just bumping along in different communities. And I say that positively because that's kind of what I felt like early on at school age. I would say I didn't fit in with one particular group. I've always felt like I've had a unique ability to talk to anybody. And so I was part of a lot of the different, back then we called them cliques or niches or communities. The athletes, for example, or the nerds, and the nerds were those guys that I loved, like playing Dungeons and Dragons with and getting geeky with those kinds of things. But I recognized and I saw into the we. I didn't recognize it consciously back then, and I didn't like to feel separate from anybody. And meaning that there were groups that I would say I wouldn't want to hang out with, but I didn't just put them down either. And I've taken that with me through all of life. And I've been blessed by that ability because it allows me to learn sometimes simply what I don't like in life, which is important, is it not? Going back to the buffet example, I can go up, I go, oh, what is this strange white meat? And I eat it and I go, I don't like that. Okay, that's an experience that I can take and learn. And without this diversity, how would I really get to know myself? So we do need other people to get to learn who we are as we get to learn who they are. And as I get to appreciate who they are, I get to appreciate who I am, back and forth. It is a perfect way of being. And so it's like, almost like those kaleidoscopes that you turn and you see all those different colors. And as you turn it, like kind of as you're going through life, things flip and flop, and you continue to look at things in a different way, although it's still the same life. We're seeing it because we continue to change our way of thinking, our way of being, from the smallest ways to more profound ways of thinking and believing. And that is one constant, and is change. And so because we've been opened up to this entire globe and rather quickly, some of us may be feeling a little uncomfortable, and that's okay. Whether it's new large groups that we're now being introduced to, new countries, new cultures, can we choose to see it from a place of unity, from a place of oneness, with a mindset of the unity of good that Ernest Holmes talks about? So these different views that we're now open to kind of add to that kaleidoscope effect that, oh, I didn't see this before. So it's kind of like shifting one more time and a new color comes into place and it changes the whole landscape of our life. And we are the ones who decide how that affects us. How meaningful is that to us? Whether, particularly now, again, it's just fascinating to learn about things, and it's never been easier to learn about new people and new ways. And I mean, just go on YouTube. It's so easy. I could spend hours just clicking and watching videos of different stuff that's happening right here and right now. I watched a video not too long ago about a third world country, and this gentleman, how he had to go through months of paperwork, and he's just an independent documentary person. And he gets there and he's explaining how I think it was UNICEF that helped him get his paperwork. So they provide some security for him. And he was saying, just as he was saying, you know, I have to have this help and I have to have this paperwork because we can get pulled in at any time by the local officials. Within a minute, he gets pulled away. And then for the next, it was about a 40-minute video. It was just fascinating. Partly, it hurt my heart to see people living in the way that these people are living. And so I'm looking at this, in a sense, community, and recognizing the life that they have chosen, in a sense, and they're choosing, and how difficult it could be, to where I'm sitting here, you know, at the time in a comfortable room watching them, and not going through and experiencing what they're going through, which is just honestly survival of life daily. And I looked at that, and I know feeling sorry for them is not going to help. And so I checked my emotions, and I sent them a blessing, because, you know, I'm not going to fly there and change a country and change the way they do things. But I know that, being that there is only one life, and I know that there is a freer, fuller, more expanded life waiting for them, that I just bless that experience, and I see them living that way. That's one of the things that I took just off of a video from YouTube, and recognize the unity, that there I am. I'm not in a state of survival the way they are, but at times I believe I am, through my own thoughts, through my own experiences. And I don't make their way of living wrong, although I know that there is a better way. So it's just amazing the different ways we can look at this idea of community. So different doesn't mean it has to be bad or scary. It just means different. And so it brings us back to that inside work. How am I looking at the world that's in front of me, and so forth? What can I take from that? Ernest Holmes, from his book, Holmes' Reader on Practical Wisdom, he says, compassion and caring are the ties that bind us together in mutual understanding and in the unified attempt to uncover the divinity in each other. To uncover the divinity within each other. And so that's what I was challenging myself to do. Was, I'm not going to look upon this community that I was watching as anything less than divine. And that's hard sometimes, and it's a deeper lesson sometimes. And there's times when I know I couldn't get there, and there's times when I struggle to get there, and that's okay too. Again, I'm doing the best I can with what I have and where I'm at. I don't pretend to know it all, and if I ever did, I would, I'm sure, immediately learn through life that I don't. But can I have compassion for them? Can I care for them in some way? And yes, I can say a prayer, and I can know of their goodness and their divineness and their wholeness, and that they are not any less of God than I am. They're experiencing life in a particular way, and which helps me understand how blessed I am with that unity of good. During this, my creation of this talk, what came to me was, and I might have shared this before, but I was watching the History Channel. They did a documentary on Abraham Lincoln, and what really floored me was, he had he struggled in life as a young boy, but he was driven. But when he finally made president, that his cabinet included all of his major rivals for the Republican Party. Like, all the people he ran against, he brought on to his cabinet, his inner close community. And it floored me, and it still kind of does, because it's so brave to do. And one of the reasons why, they said, because he didn't want basically yes men. He wanted to know that when he made a choice, that he had listened to kind of as much as he could from different aspects that were not just like his, the sameness, but that still reflected his community, and that he was making his own choice, that he honored himself that way. And I just find that amazing, that like for me, I look at that and go, wow, could I surround myself basically? I don't know if they were seen as so much as enemies in that place, but kind of, we might call them enemies, just because you want to keep yourself in check, right? And so one of the greatest things of the irony was that he became closest to two of the men that in the beginning were once his critics. So just wanted to share that. It's like, again, like, what are the opportunities that we have in life? And talk about community. Sometimes it's scary to go outside of our community. And I have a short story to share about that, which was when I was in my younger 20s, I'm going to say. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, and I had friends up in Canada, and I went with them to a place called Grand Bend. And I was by myself. And at that point, my friends were married and had their first child. And, you know, I was ready to go out and have some fun that evening. They were kind of tired. So I was dropped off at a bar and was just kind of hanging out there. And you know, I kind of, obviously I felt separate from everybody else. But I'm pretty comfortable with the Canadian culture. But what still blew me away was I was standing there trying to be my tough self, you know, and this very pretty girl came up and talked to me, and she says, hey, I just wanted you to know that my friends and I are sitting at this table over here, and we noticed you were by yourself. Are you new, and would you like to join us? And that absolutely blew me away. Even just telling the story again kind of blows me away, because honestly, I don't, if I'm sitting in a bar and I see someone standing by themselves, somehow, some way, I stood out enough for them to recognize I wasn't a local yokel. But would I invite that person over to our community and welcome them in? And it's such a small example, but it stuck with me to, like, what a blessing that was. And I had a great time with them that night. And even my friends that I was staying with were kind of blown away by that. They're like, yeah, that's just how we are. But, you know, that's cool that they did that. And so I say this to be open to, no matter where you're at, to experience that unity of good, so we can get into seeing the we and the unity. I want to share a couple more quotes. One is from Jackie Lewis. He says, the more we bump into the folks who are so-called other, the more we are stretched, the more we are pulled out of that bias and have new truths, because we have tangible evidence of the beautiful, powerful creativity of our God, who made all of this diversity for us to enjoy. Ooh, that's a delicious quote right there. That is delicious. So that we're bumping into others so we get to enjoy, he says, there's tangible evidence of the beauty, the powerful creativity of God, so that we get to enjoy God's Spirit's diversity and enjoy it. Finally, the last quote I want to share, and I'm going to have a great story to end it on. Tim Shriver says, another great quote, he says, in this world that we're creating together, nobody has to fit in, because everybody already belongs. Unity is not the opposite of diversity. Unity requires diversity. Unity is the truth of sacred scripture. It's the truth of oral indigenous peoples. It's the truth written in our hearts that we can test in and out of our lives. When we feel separate, we suffer. That's why we find happiness in belonging. We are one. No one can be left out. We were made to be together. So I want to share a story with you. It happened some time ago, way back on January 7th, 2007. And there is a man who walks into a Metro Washington transit station with a guitar, and he walks in about 15 feet in front of the front door. And actually, I have a picture. This is him right here. It's hard to see, but this is a opening to the subway transit station. And he sets up, opens his case here, and he starts playing. And he starts playing Bach pieces from Bach. And after about 8 minutes of him playing, there were a total of about 7 people that kind of even paused. And in all, it was estimated just over about 1,100 people witnessed him as he played for a total of 43 minutes. And the most people that stopped to hear him were actually children. And so, first of all, let me interrupt myself by saying the reason I have all these specifics is because this was actually an experiment done by the Washington Post. So that's why we have all these facts. So he was there for about 43 minutes. He played a total of 6 Bach pieces, some of the most intricate pieces to play. Roughly 1,100 people came by, and he collected roughly $32.17 in that 43 minutes. Now, what all those people that walked by him didn't know was that this gentleman was Joshua Bell, who was one of the best violinists in the world. The violin that he was playing was over 300 years and worth about $3.5 million. And 2 days before he had done this, he sold out a theater in Boston, where, again, this is back in 2007. The tickets average about $100 a piece. So again, I think about that. So these people are just going through their day because they're kind of unconscious. There's beauty right here. There's unity right here. There's diversity right here. And it's right here. I heard this story. I was like, wow, it's right in our face all the time. God showing up in its infinite ways, expressing itself uniquely within the communities that we're already in, that we can experience. It's like we don't necessarily have to go out to rediscover a new community or to discover a new community. We can rediscover the community that we're in. And in a sense, kind of at the same time, I am discovering still and getting to know the community of Centers for Spiritual Living St. George. And I'm inviting you to rediscover it. How can you look at our community in a different way? Maybe it's how can you serve in a different way? How can you offer it a blessing in a different way? And then go outside of your greater city of St. George and in that community and so on. So I think this story is a perfect way to end it, to recognize that the beauty of God is all around us. And as we, yes, continue to work on ourselves and love ourselves, we're going to find more and more beautiful ways that the infinite shows up in our lives and in our communities. And we will see the we as part of the whole, as part of the one, and recognize that we are an intricate part of that we. All right. We tend to, during the last part of our talk, I like to have an affirmation. So I'm going to read it one time, and then I'm going to ask you to read along with me wherever you're at, whenever you're watching this is perfect. And it's about the energy that goes into it. That's why I like to read it one time, just to get my mind to understand it, and then put in the energy. So the words are simply, I open my mind to the awareness, spirit of spirit. I open my mind to the awareness, spirit expressing in a unity and community of God. So I left out a word there. So I open my mind to the awareness of spirit expressing in a unity and community of good. All right. So let's take a breath. I open my mind to the awareness of spirit expressing in a unity and a community of good. And as we close with prayer, I just am so grateful to go within and feel that sense of community. As Anita did that perfect meditation today of going within our heart space, whew, can we feel that heart space? I do right now. And I know that I belong. I must belong because I am a divine part of God expressing itself uniquely as part of the infinite life that is happening right here on our planet. And as I open to that perfect love that is everywhere present in its fullness, I see me I see love everywhere I go. I feel it. I bless it. I invite it into my life in the unique ways that allow me to just uncover a newness, to recreate the community that I'm within and within myself, and know the divine, know love, know joy, know myself in a just a different, unique way. And I trust that this source of all will continue to deliver to me the best and the highest experience as I just continue to do my best to live a spiritual life. I accept myself as I am, and I welcome myself to grow, to evolve, as I recognize the perfection and the unity of good everywhere I go. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Reverend Joe.
My pleasure.
I particularly was touched by the buffet example. I might just have to try everything next time I go to the buffet so I can experience this infinite diversity.
The infinite diversity of a buffet, yes.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, there you go. I bet you're glad you stayed. We're all one, and we do get together well. So we have a community care circle. If you just like somebody to talk to, or you know somebody that might want to be reached out to, just call that number up there, and somebody will get a hold of you, and you guys can have a nice conversation and maybe fill a need that you have at that particular time. Our practitioners are always available and loving to pray. So if you feel you need a prayer request, you can see right on there, prayer@CSLSGorge.org, and we'll get you right in that prayer circle with our practitioners. And we got our Zoom link, our meeting that starts on the hour coming up here in a few minutes. And please join us. I mean, a lot of people I see that are watching don't come in and join, but we'd love to have you just pop in and say hi. And there's some pretty spirited conversations that go on. And it is one of the limited ways we get to see each other these days. Now, we will not have that Zoom meeting on the 25th. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people busy with other blessings. So we'll see you again here in a few minutes at 12 o'clock. Please join us. The details on how to get to the Zoom meeting is in the newsletter, and you can just click right on in there. Now, here we go again. It's meeting time. So we're going to have our holiday potluck on the 17th of December this month from 12 to 3. Please bring your favorite little finger food and invite a friend. Let's have a big crowd. And bring a gift for the community. I think we're going to be some gift exchanges going on. Doesn't have to be anything big. And we're also, during this meeting, doing an activity for the Switch Point, one of our local charities here in town. And they're in need, as you can see down below, of some stuff for their program. It's some, well, as you can see it, baking pans and 10-inch Coke container. But anyway, read the list down there. And we will gather all them up on the holiday potluck day, and then someone will deliver those over to Switch Point right before the holiday. So come on over and share some fun. I think I covered it. This was a big page. Now, the tithes and offerings are going on. Please give. We're really working hard to get this thing live again, and this potluck is an example. We're doing this once a month now. Won't be long until we can do it more often. So you can use your PayPal link to CSL St. George. You can use Zelle. You can mail a check. There's just many ways. You can scan the QR code, and it'll take you where you need to be. And again, your generosity is very appreciated. We love you all. On the 18th, next week, coming up for us is our friend Jeffon Seeley, who will be speaking on the Ode to Joy. That's going to be something good. And then our own Reverend Joe will be back on the 25th, Christmas. That'll be a pre-recorded live stream. Please join us. A lot of people working on this thing. It's going to be pretty cool. So we'll see you on the 25th at the same time, same channel. Now, we're all going to come back and get together here and do our closing affirmation. And let's see, everybody's coming on in. And please join along. You don't have to pick a line. You can say all the lines. So as we go along. So here we go.
Okay, with spirit, something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming. Thank
you.
Bye.
Yay!
Thank you all for joining
thank
us.
you.
We'll see you in a few minutes. Come along. Happy holidays, my friends. Namaste.
Join our community.
Good job, Jofiel.